Hello everyone and welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Luna and welcome to Luna's Bookshelf. So in today's video we're going to talk about all the books I read in the month of January, our first monthly wrap up for the new year. I'm very excited because we got a lot of books to get through. So yeah, we're going to talk first about some statistics of the month. I read 6 romance books and I read 4 fantasy books, which makes a total of 10 books I read in the month of January. I listened to 1 audiobook, I read 6 physical books, and I read 4 ebooks. So yeah, that are the statistics. Before I go on further in the video, I did say I was not going to read a lot in the month of January since I had exams, and I did read a lot. I mean, I read 10 books. I never thought I would read that many, and I'm still taking and studying for exams, but I just want to come out here and say that I passed all of my exams that I had in January, so I'm pretty proud of myself that I managed to do everything. I managed to study, I managed to read a lot of books, and I had some fun during the holidays. So yeah, I would say let's get into the video. Talking about the first book I read this year and in the month of January is Flawless by Elsie Silver. So a lot of people already know this book, I think, but I'm going to quickly go over what the book is about. So this book is part of the Chestnut Springs series from Elsie Silver. It's a cowboy romance series, and in this book we follow, wow, I forgot the name, I'm sorry, Red and Summer. So Red is a bull rider, and he did some questionable things before before the world championship, and Summer is a daughter of the manager of Red, and Summer gets a job to like kind of babysit of Red until the end of the season. So that's what we're going to do, and it's a really fun dynamic between the two of them and their banter and everything that happens, because it's also dual POV, so you get to see what they think of each other. I think that's so fun, and I do think not every book is made for dual PV, but this book definitely was perfect for this. So yeah, I really liked it. It's really, to say something, just that's what the book is about. So I gave this 4 point. If I'm looking down, it's because there I put all my book journals here, and there are all my ratings for the books in it. So I give a Flawless by Elsie 4.5 stars. I do think it was a fun and really fast-paced book because I read this really quickly, but there were just some things I maybe didn't like that much. It was just not a 5 star, but I'm definitely really excited to read all the other books because I heard so many great things about the series, so I can't wait to continue it. And then the next book I read was Coincidentally Kismet by Kelly Cook. I got this in an arc from Love Not Spear, so thank you for that. So this book follows two, I forgot the name, so I'm just going to put it in the screen or something because I'm not going to look it up because I don't have obviously the physical book with me. So this book follows two characters. They used to date in high school, but then they break up before going to college, and a lot of years later they reconnect and they see each other again, but the breakup was not that good, if you know what I mean. So it's what was, there's some hard feelings after the breakup. So yeah, and there are a lot of things happening. I do think it also was dual PV. I did like it, but at sometimes I was a little bit bored in the book. I just didn't have the feeling like I want to read more. I need to read this, you know? And in the beginning there was like, because you have the dual POV, you read something in like the girl's POV, and then it gets repeated in the boy's POV. So it's a little bit repetitive, but that's only in the first part. It doesn't happen in the rest of the book. But I didn't like that. So yeah, I still think it was a good fun read. It is also, he is in the military, so that was really fun to read about, and also the struggles he has with being in the military and also losing a friend. So I think I do like that, and also she has some struggles, personal struggles of her own, especially with herself, the way she looks at herself. I don't know how to say it, but I think that was interesting to read about, but it just wasn't feeling with both of the main characters. So yeah, So I gave this book 3 stars. Onto the next book was a book I also have on my 25 books to read in 2025, and oh, flawless as well, by the way. And I was so excited to read this book because I've heard so many great things about this, and a lot of people read it last year, and everyone I follow and saw reading this book loved this book, so I had pretty high expectations going into it. So yeah, and that book is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciorelli. So this is the first book in the Crimson Moth duology. Apparently, I thought it was going to be a longer series, but I just saw someone saying it on YouTube. It is a duology. So this is the first book. You also have another name for a book, and that is the Crimson Moth, but I have this version. So yeah, I didn't know really what to expect going into this book, but I ended up loving it. I mean, I couldn't put this book down. I just needed to read and just couldn't stop reading. So that's a really good sign. So this book follows Rune and Gideon. Rune is a witch and she just lost her grandma, I think, her grandmother. Yeah, she just lost her grandmother because there's this revolution going on in the place we are settled in, and she is hiding because she's also a witch, and she wants to get some information about who the people who are the witch hunters going to kill. And she decides, you know what, Gideon is the highest ranked in charge, so why not date him? I mean, like, fake date him. And there is this person in this world, and there's a crimson mouth, and this person saves witches from being murdered. And Gideon is trying to find out who that is, so he's going to fake date Rune in order to maybe think, maybe Rune is a crimson mouth. So they fake dating each other to get more information, and I think that's so fun to read about. It's also dual POV, and I love that. This book was so fast paced, and even though it's a fantasy, it didn't I didn't have a hard time going into it and understanding everything. And the ending is also, I need book 2 now. It's coming out in February. I don't know if I'm going to buy it yet because I have this cover, so I want to have the cover that goes with it, and I haven't seen it online yet, so hopefully it will come out soon. So yeah, I really love this, so I gave it obviously 5-star, my first 5-star of 2025. I really recommend reading it. It is not that hard to understand. It is really fast paced, and I both love the characters. I mean, Rune is such a badass, but she's also embracing her feminine side, and I really love that about her. So yeah, really recommend reading this if you haven't already. So the next book I read is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Boston. I've been wanting to read it for such a long time. I've had it on my T-bar for like not a year. But since I read the 7 Year Slip, I've been wanting to read more of Ashley Boston and her work. And this is her first well-known book, popular book. So I knew I had to read it, obviously. And I just really like Ashley Boston, her writing, because she does this like the romance, but also with the magical realism in it. And I think that's very interesting to read about, especially because I haven't read a lot of other things like this. So yeah. So The Dead Romantics is about Florence, and she's a ghostwriter for a very well-known author, and she has to complete the series. She has to finish the last book, but she still hasn't finished it. So when she goes to the meeting, she sees her new editor, Benji, under, and she is asking for an extension for her deadline because she has to finish it very early, but she still has a lot of work to do. She literally has to write a whole book. So yeah, but he won't give her an extension. Then all of a sudden, Florence gets a call from home. There's something happened and she has to go home immediately. So she obviously can't finish her book. But Florence has this kind of gift that she sees ghosts, and when she's back home, all of a sudden she sees a ghost standing in front of her door. And guess who that ghost is? It's Benji, her new editor. So, well, that's confusing if you ask me. And you see Florence going through all of this, the things that happened at home, but also being a ghostwriter and all of it, and I really loved how it was done, and I really loved also the banter between them and how Benji and Florence connected. I it was so cute and so fun. Also, some things I highlighted. I was just flipping through to see. Here, this one, so beautiful. She told me that you don't ever lose the sadness, but you learn to love it because it becomes part of you. And bit by bit, it fades. And eventually, you'll pick yourself back up and you'll find a way. You'll find that you're okay, that you're going to be okay. And eventually, it'll be true. I mean, that's so beautiful. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading this book. I didn't feel the 5-star feeling, but I really loved it. There was just something missing. I can't put it on what I was missing, but just something. So yeah. But I still give this book 4.5 stars because I really did enjoy the book and the writing and the characters. So yeah. The next book is a novella I read. It's Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Braben. This comes after The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. And then after that, there's a star. I forgot the name, but that's okay. So I read that. It was a novella, I think, of like 200 pages maybe. The thing was, I didn't want to buy the book because the book was really expensive for being a novella, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to give like 20 euros to a novella that I will read probably in one day. So we're not going to do that. So yeah, but I think I don't want to. I don't know if it's going to spoil if I talk about what it is, but I will briefly talk about it. So it's about, I forgot the name again. I'm going to look it up now because. So the book is about Lilith, and she's the main character, and she's been dying, and she has this thing she wants to try with using vampire blood. So she goes to this man who is a vampire to get his blood, but she wants to give, in order for she receiving his blood, she gives him roses, the 6 roses. So yeah, you follow her story, you follow their story. I did like it. It was a fun, no, not really fun, but it was a good book in between. It just is a novella, so I didn't expect a lot. I did see a lot of people really loving it and giving it 5 stars and thinking it was better than the 2 books in this like more duology series. So I kind of had more high hopes, but I was just not that invested. I gave it 3 stars initially, but maybe I'm going. No, the 3 stars is valid. We're going for the 3 stars. So yeah. Then the next book I read is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I've been wanting to read this book for such a long time because I've had it on my TBR for such a long time, I think now. And I was so excited going into it. I really love Better Than the Movies and nothing like the movies, so I know I just have to continue reading Lynn Painter, her work. And I thought, you know what? Why not now? Betting on You, a fun, cute YA romance between my exams is a perfect timing. So that's what I did, and I read it, and I really enjoyed it. So it's about, well, I'm sorry. So it's about Charlie and about Bailey. Bailey, her parents suddenly divorced, so she's going through a lot at the moment, and she has to go to her mother in Ohama. And when she's waiting to board for the plane, she sees Charlie standing there. They don't know each other yet, and they just have an awkward encounter. And after they have that encounter at the airport, they have to sit next to each other for like 6 hours in a plane. So that's awkward. And a little bit later, they meet again. And then a little bit later after that, they meet another time. So yeah, you see involved their story. Charlie is like, I don't think boys and girls can be friends, so he doesn't really put the words on it like we are not friends, we're just colleagues, because that's how they meet for the next time. It is also dual POV. Now I forgot, but I think it was. Yeah, it's dual POV. It's dual POV. I really love their banter. I think it's so fun, and also the talk about divorce and how it affects children. But I do think them talking about it with each other is so interesting and beautiful, how they say and how they understand each other. So yeah. But Bailey is having some trouble with her mother's new boyfriend, and Charlie gets all of that. So they're like, you know what? Why don't we fake date? because the boyfriend of the mother doesn't like Charlie that much. So yeah, it's fake dating, it's banter, it's so fun. Also, the writing is very fun. I annotated quite a lot of things in here. I'm going to see if I find something that I think like. This one, I think it's just cute. She was 20 things that annoy me, all rolled into one, but there was something oddly relaxing about being around her. That's so cute. That's just so cute. So yeah, really enjoyed this book again, but there was just something missing. I think it was the conflict that happened. It didn't feel right to me. That was like, you know, I still gave it 4.5 stars because I think it's a fun book to read and very fast paced. I read it in one day. So, yeah, that says a lot, I think. But no, I think it's a really good book. And if you want to read like a good YA book in between, this is a book for you. Okay, then after that, I read another ebook. I read Kingdom of the Wicked by Gary Manscalo. I'm hoping I pronounced it correctly. So yeah, I read this in my 24-hour, no, not 24-hour reading zone. And what video did I read it? Oh, in my reading vlog of the week. Yeah, I will put a link in here. So yeah, I read it in that video. I read it because of Tiffany. I saw her rereading it on her Instagram, and I was like, I'm interested. Let's see what it's about. So it's also about witches, and since I read Heartless Hunter, I really loved things with witches, so I was like, this is my jam. We're going to read something else about witches, so I was ready for it. So yeah. So this book follows Amelia and Victoria. They're sisters and they're both witches. So the setting is in Italy, and I think that's really interesting. I also talked about it in my video. I'm not going to talk a lot because I already talked a lot about this book in that video. So yeah, it's about witches, and all of a sudden tragedy happens, and someone ends up being dead. So yeah, that's not really good. And I think you also know who, but I'm going to quickly check. But I think it is in the synopsis on Goodreads. Yeah, okay. So Victoria gets murdered, and Emilia is like, she's like, I'm going to find out who murdered my sister. And while finding out, she discovers a lot of more things happening, and you have this 7 princes of hell, and then she meets Red, like Prince Red. And their banter is so fun to read about. It's really fun. I'm now reading book 2, and I'm really liking it as well. But I was not that invested. I mean, when I was reading, I really liked it, and I was really okay. I want to know more, and I want to read more. But when I was not reading, I was also not thinking about it, you know. So I think that's why I didn't rate it that high. So I gave it like 3 stars. Still a good book, but just not the best. The next book is a book I randomly picked up, also in that reading vlog. I've been seeing a lot of people reading it. It's a very popular BookTube book, and I just haven't read it yet, and it's been on my physical TBR for also a very long time. So I was like, you know what, we're in for this. We're going to vibe with it. We're going to go with it, and we're going to see how I like it. And that is Twist Love by Anna Wong. So it's part of the Twisted series. It's an interconnected series, and I really ate this book up. I read it in basically one day. No, I read it in 2 days, but I binged a lot of the book in the first day. I just couldn't put it down. I was like, damn, I was so sucked into the story. Wow, that was no. I was so sucked into the story. The writing was fun, fast paced, the story was interesting. So yeah. So this book is about Alex and Ava, she is her brother is moving away to study abroad, but her brother's like, I want someone to take care of my little sister. So he asks his best friend Alex to look out for her. So that's what Alex does. Alex is a little bit of an so Alex is like a little bit of an really protective guy, but he has his reasons, you know. But he's like the kind of guy I like in my books, but not in real life. You know what I mean? So yeah. There are some things I just didn't like that much. First of all, were the spy scenes. They were just a little bit awkward reading. I don't know why, but I was like, no, I'm not vibing, you know? And then also there's something that happened like the third of the book and also at the end that was like, no, I don't know if I'm vibing with this. I don't know if I'm vibing with what's happening here, you know? But I still liked it and I will definitely will be reading all of the three other books in the series because I'm very excited. I'm also very excited, especially about the third book because that's about Ava, her brother. And I just knew when is Jules, yeah, Josh is her brother and Jules is her best friend. And when they first mentioned both, I was like, they're going to have a book. They don't like each other, they're going to have a book. And it is, I think that book is called Twisted Hate, obviously because it's like enemies to lovers. So I'm very excited about their book. So yeah, I did still give this 3.75 stars because I really liked it. I liked the characters. Ava was sometimes a little bit naive, which I was like, girl, why? How? You know? But I still loved it and I really liked it and I will be definitely reading the other books. But yeah, not my favorites, you know? Then I picked up another book and also in the same video, I started reading this book after my exam because I wanted to treat myself with a book because I was like, I'm done with exams now, so I'm going to buy myself a book. I was originally going to buy the second book in the Twisted series, but they didn't have the same version I have, so I was like, nope, we're not going to do that. So yeah, I had to buy another book. You know, I don't know, this is really off topic, but doesn't matter. So I read Overdrive by Esha Patel. This is also part of a series. The first book is Off Track. And this book follows Chantal and Darian. Darian is a F1 driver, and Chantal is like an, I don't know how you call it. She made something for like the driving, exercising driving. I don't really remember actually. Maybe that says a lot about the book. So at first I was like, you know what, I'm into it. When I read the blurb, I was, this sounds like a fun book. My first Formula One romance, but I ended up not liking it. I was like, okay, this is fun, but at first I don't know why, but Chantel, I don't know, I'm not vibing with her name. It was just not my jam. Okay, and Darian as well. I didn't vibe with him as a person, as a character, and also with Chantel, didn't really feel the vibe. Didn't feel connected to both of them. So sometimes I was bored and I'm not interested in reading the book and continue reading it. And when I was done, I was glad because I was like, yes, I'm finished and I can move on from this book, you know. And that's not really a good thing if you're glad reading a book, if you're glad you're finished with it. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Yeah, it was good for some part. There was till the 5.5. Otherwise, I would just give it 2 stars. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it reading it. Maybe if you're really into the F1, you would love it, but I just didn't vibe with it. Maybe it's also because I didn't read the first book, but I don't think that really matters. But yeah, just not my vibe. Then after that, as you know, I listened to an audiobook, and you know, everyone and the mother knows that Onyx Storm was coming out the 21st of January, and I was like, you know what? I saw everyone rereading it, and I kind of felt left out. I was like, you know what? We're going to do it as well, but I was not going to read the book again, because I also wanted to read other books, new books. So I thought, why not listen to the audiobook? I use this app Cloud Library where you can borrow books. It's here in Belgium. I don't know where else you can use it, but I use this. And then I borrowed the book and then I listened to it every chance I got. And it was really fun. I had such a good time. It was the first time I really listened to a fantasy, not non-fiction book, not like a fiction book, because the other audiobooks I've listened to were non-fiction books. So yeah, that was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm so glad I reread it. I felt all the feels again. My hate for Dane came back while I was listening, and while I heard him, I was like, dude, shut up. Just respectfully, shut up. Stop talking. So yeah, I'm sorry if it's maybe a spoiler, but yeah, I'm sorry. But it's so fun, and I didn't expect to enjoy it that much, but I really did. I do have to say, however, the spy scenes, it was kind of weird listening to it, but that's okay. that's okay. But I still love it. It's still a 5-star read. It's a reread, so yeah. I think it's a fun book, and I think everyone should read this book. I'm now onto listening the Iron Flame, but I will be reading Onyx Storm because I'm just very excited for the book. I've heard mixed opinions, but you know what? We're going to wait and see, and I'm going to read it myself. So yeah, really love this. Again, 5-star. So yeah, I'm not going to count that as a 5-star book. So far, I'm sorry. So far we have one 5-star book in the year. I think it's good. I had really good reads in the month of January, and we're all off to a great start. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. So that was for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what your favorite book was for the month of January and what book you were looking forward to read in the month of February. See you next time. Bye!